Okay, hi everyone. I'm here to speak and talk about relationship. We all understand that there are so many different kind of relationship in the world. The first one um, is a parental relationship. This is a relationship between parents and their children, a relationship between a father, mother, and the kids. You know, um, kids are born into a family and they get to know their parents, who is their dad and who is their mom. Um, from this kind of relationship, then extend other relationship that include siblings, brothers and sisters, and cousins, uncle and aunties, and grandchildren and grandparents. Um, there's another type of relationship, and that is marital relationship. This is a relationship between a husband and wife or a boyfriend and girlfriend. It is a relationship between a man and woman who are who are married or just a couple who are staying together socially. It is a relationship that come into existence because of two consented adults who love each other and decided to legally get married or socially to stay together for some time. It is from that kind of relationship that couple or people can produce children and then develop into parental relationship that we just talked about. Um, what is the purpose of relationship? Um, there is other type of relationship as well in the world. For example, relationship between friends, relationship between business partners, a relationship between employer and employees, relationship between workers, co-workers, people who work in the same place, relationship between students and teachers. So all these are different type of relationship that we have in the world, and they all have a purpose. They all have an objective. For example, parental relationship that we just mentioned is to raise children, is to look after the kids and to support one another, and same thing, marital relationship, people get married in order to form a family, to support one another, to produce kids and raise children, and to help each other succeed in life. So that's the purpose, and there's other purpose and objective why people get into a relationship. So and that is, for example, business partners. People get into business because they can bring their resources together, they can bring their knowledge, skills together, they can bring um, uh, their abilities, together in order to um, operate a business and achieve a profit. So within marital relationship, there are other type of relationship, because we know in the world there are different people, different ethnicities, different race, different nationalities, different countries, different continent. For example, in Africa and in Asia, some part of Asia and in some part of other world, uh, people marry many wives, multiple wives, and this is called polygamy, you know. um, and this is different than in America or in Europe. There is also something called arranged marriage. This is a marriage that is arranged between a couple, you know, parents or other people arrange a marriage on behalf of two people, you know, who are wanted to be getting married. The couple do not have a say, they don't have a choice, they don't have an opinion about whom they're going to marry, but it's arranged. You know, the bride is chosen by some people and the groom is chosen by other people. You know, this is an arrange. Sometimes it can be successful, sometimes it cannot. In contrast, in the Western world, like in America and Europe, relationships are formed based on love and in dating. That means you get to choose who you love and who you wanted to marry by getting to know themselves, getting to know each other, um, you know, meeting them for a few months, a few years before you eventually decide to get married. In other words, you know, people have the freedom and the choice to choose their life partner, you know, instead of being forced or arranged by other people, including the parents. Um, where in Africa, like in Asia, like we said, there is a high percentage of arranged marriage, you know, by parents or some other responsible people. Sometimes it's the elders of the community who think that actually they know better than the people who are going to get married. So they select a woman for a man, you know, they select a wife for a husband, but they don't know what is going to happen. They just hope that actually the marriage is going to work out very well. However, you know, there are also challenges and issues faced by the couple, you know, even within arranged marriage. And sometimes these problems, these challenges could lead to divorce and separation. Um, even when the people who arrange the marriage or people who organize the couple to get married, when they tried hard in order to for the couple to stay together, you know, people can stay together but unhappy, unsatisfied, and uh, and that is can negatively impact on the relationship and can impact on children, can impact on families, can impact on the community and on the society at large. So this is a challenge and this is a problem. Um, so same thing in the Western world, the relationship that is based on love and based on dating, you know, um, there is also a challenge, there is also a problem that can also lead to divorce and separation. In fact, that there is a high percentage of separation and divorce in the Western version of marriage or relationship, marital relationship, which is based on love and dating. Why? Because there is too much freedom, there is too much choice. The same thing, you know, the couple choice to get married by themselves, the same freedom, the same choice happen within the relationship as well. So if one person is not satisfied, they can, you know, they have the right to decide, oh, look, if this relationship is not working out, then we better go separate way. And there is no one that actually um, can be able to force them, because they got into relationship by themselves, and they can have the legal right and moral right to get separated or divorced. Um, so that is the advantage. That's the advantage and disadvantage of marital relationship. So the one that is established through love and dating, as demonstrated in Western culture, there is a problem. And the one that is arranged through parents, as in African culture and Asian culture, there are problems as well. And that is separation, divorce happen in both of them. So what is the better version um, of this relationship? The answer is there is no better version of those two type of marital relationship, except the one that is full of happiness, full of joy, where people are satisfied and people are happy to live together, um, in a long-term marital relationship. There is also another type of relationship, and that is open marriage or monogamous relationship, where women have or has more than one partner. This is very rare, but it can happen. This type of relationship still exists in some countries, which also has a negative consequences on the people who are not familiar with this kind of relationship. I have come to learn about this kind of relationship, you know, very recently, and I didn't know that actually it exists, but it happens. So monogamous relationships are practiced by people who often, wanted to leave the, relationship open. For example, a woman can have multiple husbands. It's not a husband, but it's like, you know, um, this is very rare. I don't know how it happened, but it is something that I've come to learn about. So you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but it still exists. So people can open relationship where a husband can have multiple husband, um, a wife can have multiple husband, or husband can have multiple of wives. Um, However, with all this relationship we've mentioned, like the last one, monogamous marital relationship, um, the problem with it is that people do not know who the children belong to. So it is a challenge. And the solution is for one person to marry one person. That is, the thing is the better, and to avoid many problems. So what is the solution for all this problem that we mentioned? As we've learned that many different type of marital relationship that are practiced in the world, but they have so many disadvantages. They have so many challenges and problems. So I would say that a successful marital relationship is the one that shape and build a thriving and healthy community and society. Um, in my opinion, many of our family and social problems could be prevented if we have, if a society have an well organized and planned family and social laws that governing our social and marital affairs. Um, we understand there is a rule, there is for every rule there is an exception. However, sometimes there must be some logic, there must be some reasoning, and there must be some morality to every aspect of our life, including our family and social relationship. For example, people learn to solve many of social problems through education, technology, and civilization throughout the history. One problem is it used to be a taboo or a shame or embarrassment in some society if one could not produce children or considered a barren, whether it's a woman or a man. Others could not even get married as a result in some societies. However, this is no longer an issue, or this is no longer a problem, because we have advanced in medical science, and medically one could be cured or could be healed to be able to produce children, you know, to be able to get married. So that challenge or a problem can be overcome scientifically, medically. Another option is the couple can have a lot of options to have kids, including adoption. So a family who are having a challenge or a problem or difficulty in producing kids, you know, can adopt kids. You know, this is a very prevalent nowadays in society, that you can do some IVF, um, IVF, you know, that is a special operation where infertile or fertile people, whether it's a woman, a man, barren woman or man, they can produce kids. There is an adoption, you can adopt a kid, you know, and you can still live happily, you know, just like somebody who has biological children. So there are so many solutions, so many options in our society, you know, that we could solve and address our social and marital issues and problems today. The problem is people do not want to explore or search for answers, you know, in order to address these social issues and social problems that we have in society. The reason I am saying this is because I'm a person who is always wanted to help, you know, because they said a shared um, um, okay, a shared problem is a shared solution. So by sharing this one, it is not only me that is experiencing the same But I believe there are so many people around the world who are experiencing the same, whether it's in a marital relationship, parental relationship, or any other relationship of any kind. Maybe you have been having a problem getting married or getting a life partner. How can you go about it? You want some help. You want some people to arrange for you, your life partner, or you can go through. You have the freedom of choosing the person whom you wanted to marry, by dating them, getting to know them very well, and then if you successfully, you can get married eventually. uh, or you could have a challenge or had a problem producing kids. you know you could seek help, through uh, medicine, through doctors, through IVF, through adoption. All this kind are solutions that we have in our society. And I don't know why people do not explore, why do not people don't want to get these answers. Instead, they get some quick fix problem, or sometimes they can complicate the problem where we have a simple solution. So, for example, I have come to understand, if we go back in history, all this problem and all our social and family problem, they stem from our lack of understanding what is the actual problem. Because when you wanted to solve or address a problem, you needed to identify the root cause of the problem, and then um, explore some answers and solutions, and then begin to evaluate those solutions, and then decide what solution is best for you. So in my understanding, it is we needed to understand and identify the problem is, what is the problem, um, evaluate or solution that are available or options that are available, and decide what the best solution or best option is to take. I can say that all these problems is because we lack a social pattern, social structure, or social laws that people can properly follow in order to establish relationship, whether it's a parental relationship between their kids, their parents, or between their extended family, or it's a marital relationship between husband and wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, or any other type of relationship. We needed to have a proper structures and pattern, social and family laws in place. Um, we will not be able to change the history or to alter what is happened in the past, but we can begin to make some changes, some modification, in order to have a better future starting from now. This can be achieved by looking at our current family and marital social relationship structures and laws, and change what it needs to be changed in order to avoid social and economic problems. Because in my understanding, those two aspects, economy and social, they are correlated. Social problem could lead into economic problems. Therefore, as a society, as a community, it's our duty, it's our role and responsibility to do what's right, reasonable, and morally acceptable in terms of family, social, and marital relationship. To conclude, we've stated that there are different type of relationship in the world. First one is a parental relationship between parents and children. How this relationship is established is through marital relationship. When people get married and they form a family, they and produce kids, and then kids get to know their parents, they to know their mother and their dad, and then from there there's a relationship started. And parental relationship is unique, it's different than marital relationship, because the way parents react or interact with their children is different than the way husband and wife interact to one another. um, Within marital relationship also, we have stated that there are different types of marital relationship, or how people get married is different from one place to another. For example, in Asia, in Africa, uh, there are different type of marital relationship. People get There is something called arranged marriage. In other words, when people get married, majority of people, their marriage is arranged by parents or some responsible adult, usually the elders of the community, who get to choose the bride for the groom. They get to choose the woman for the man, because they think that they know better, they have more wisdom than the people who are going to get married. But the negative and the consequence of that is sometimes problems happen, challenges happen that could lead into divorce and separation. There is also a polygamous relationship, that is when a husband get married to multiple wives. This is a predominantly practiced by African communities, Asian communities, and some other part of the world. you know Sometimes problem can arise as well if the husband cannot uh, take care of those many wives properly, and that can lead into family issues, societal issues, and sometimes big escalate into a large scale violence. In the Western culture, marital relations are based on love and mutual understanding. That is, you get to know the person through dating, you understand them well, and then if you succeed in understanding each other, you get married, or you stay together even you are not legally married, and then you could produce children. So that's a Western version of marital relationship. Within that, as also, there is challenges, there are problems. In fact, there is a high percentage of separation and divorce in the Western culture other than in Africa and in Asia. Why? Because it involves a large degree of freedom and choice. People have the choice and people have the freedom to choose who they wanted to marry, to choose whom they wanted to stay together. And if they are not happy at the end, they have the freedom and the right to choose also to break away from the relationship, to say to the person, if they are not happy, look, this relationship is not working out, I am better go in a different direction, and they can go and choose another person who they wanted to stay with. So in all this different type of marital relationship, there are challenges, there are problems. Also, there's a different version of relationship that we have come to know, that is open marital relationship or monogamous relationship. This is a relationship where um, most of the time is women can have multiple husbands. That is, a relationship is open for multiple people, to have access to the woman or to the wife. I have not seen it very often, and it's very rare, but I have come to understand this still exists. I don't know the reason, but it still exists, and it also has a negative impact on children, family, and society. Why? Because it has disadvantage. If a wife has multiple husbands, for example, people do not know who the children belong to, and that is difficult part. It can be a very challenging. People get married to one person because they want the children, the kids, to be exclusively belong to those parents, to two parents. But if multiple of people are in the relationship, then it can be difficult, to identify the kids to one party. And I think our society should look into that one. Um, there's another issue as well. We have stated that in some part of societies, it used to be a taboo or a shame, if one cannot produce kids, or if one is a barren. Sometimes it can be a man, sometimes it can be a woman. Especially in Africa, where I came from. Yes, it used to be a taboo. It used to be a shame. It used to be a problem. It can cause stress and mental, depression if you cannot produce, because you are considered an outcast or sick, or you have a disease that is incurable. However, thanks to technology, education, and civilization, all these problems now, they can be cured. A person who is a barren, who has issues in producing kids, can be cured medically. They can seek some healing, some treatment, and they can be able to produce kids. So this problem sometimes is, if that person is being known to that, in some societies it's very difficult to get married, because you could be there is a negative reputation. People can go and whisper, such person do not allow them to marry because their family has this issue. So in that regard, you could be treated, you could get healing, and you could get married and live happily and produce kids. You could pursue IVF. There's something that we have come to learn. It's called IVF. People can do IVF operations. I don't. I just know the term IVF, that actually people who are barren, they can produce children. But you can go and search out what is IVF is. I know many people have heard about that term, and it's something to do with producing kids, than the usual, um, you know, uh, husband and wife producing kids. And there is also another option. If that is not possible, that the treatment is not possible to produce kids, person can adopt. Adoption is very common nowadays. You can adopt kids. you know Legally, some countries can allow you to adopt kids if you wanted to do that. And there are some people who have adopted kids, and they are very happy, with those kids, in their life. So that's another option as well. I used to have a very respected minister of God who says every child is your child. That means, every child in this world is your child. And the child, um, whether is born to another person, who is your child, is your child. And that's what that pastor means. And every child is precious, and you could adopt a child, and that child can become your own, can carry your legacy, can carry um, your reputation. Yes. In other words, in other hand, So our society wanted to avoid all these challenges, all these problems, we understand there's um, um, there is no better version of marital relationship, but one, whether it's through arranged marriage as a practice in African cultures or Asian cultures, or is a marriage that is established through love and dating and mutual understanding, you know, they all have problems because no one is immune from problems. The most important thing is what we do after we get married, you know, is very important, so I cannot suggest any version that is better, but the one after people get married, they have to educate themselves, they have to work out their relationship, you know. But it's up to you entirely who wanted to get married. If you think the arranged marriage is work for you, then go ahead and accept when people wanted to help you get married. If you think it's better for me to choose my life partner, the one that I like, the one that I love, the one that I understand, you can go ahead and do it. But it is your responsibility to work out that marriage in order not to end up with divorce or separation in the end. Um, if you also prefer polygamy, marrying multiple wives, that also has advantage and disadvantage. If you cannot take care of those many wives, I cannot suggest that you do it, you know. And this is only practice in some part of Africa and Asia. But if you live in the West, that will not be practical and that will not be applied to you as well. Monogamous, the one that is open relationship, I do not suggest to anyone, but there are some circumstances where it can be difficult, to control a person. In that regard, if two of you are happy to get into open relationship, monogamous relationship, that's fine. As long as you have the mechanism to control and to manage and to overcome the challenges that come with it, that's fine. However, in my understanding, in my opinion, all these problems, social, family problem that we have, I know it is because we don't have well organized and well planned social and family laws and pattern and structure that regulating or governing our social life. If we do, then we should not have any problem at all, whether in any country around the world, in Africa, in Asia, in America, in Europe, in Australia, you know, we should have well organized plan, family and social structures and laws and pattern that people can follow. You know, if we do have those things, we could avoid social problems, and therefore we could also avoid economic problem, because those two aspects of life, they are interrelated. A social problem can develop into economic problem, and if we solve our social and family problems, there is no there is no problem with economic problem. We could live a healthy, safe and prosperous life in any country, in any nation, in any continent. And I think I have come to a conclusion. Thank you very much. I think I have covered enough territory in this topic, relationship, and I think it's very essential for me and for many people.